Happy Veterans Day 2024 for the United States of America. I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle, and on the theme of the day, I got up early and finished the book I was reading because it's about war / the military, so I was like, this is a good one for today. So this is my notes for my November 2024 reading of Hiroshima by John Hershey. I'm filming this Monday, 11 November 2024. Veterans Day in the US of A. And I'm going to talk through my book and reading notes for my November 2024 of reading of a book about perspectives on what it was like when an atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, Japan on Monday, 6 August 1945, and the following events / recovery efforts. So it's Hiroshima by John Hershey, initially published in 1985. It's the February 1989 Vintage Books first edition paperback. A later printing though, because they do say the guy died in 1993, so it's like, I caught you guys. ISBN in the video description. I started the book on Saturday, 9 November 2024 and finished the book on Monday, 11 November 2024. It was 153 pages, including the About the Author section. It took me 3 days, 50 pages on Saturday, 80 pages on Sunday, and 23 pages on Monday. This is a public library copy, and I found it in the nonfiction section of the library. I was looking at books, and I was like, I'll read this one. So that's introduction, book notes, including construction and design. This, while it was published in the 1980s, and this copy might be from the 1990s, it might actually be from later. This entered the library system on September 11, 2017. 11 September 2017. So there we go. It's full text, tiny text, like tiny text or small text, 1.0 spacing, and the page breaks are like that. So if you want a wall of text, tiny wall of textbooks, this is it. And the chapters look like, formatted like this, kind of a theme, and then the title, and it goes like that for the whole book. So it's pretty simple. Even pages, Hiroshima, name of the book at the top with the even page number. Odd pages are the chapter theme. And then the odd page number. So there's no images. There we go. Except for the design for the chapters. Reading notes. Let's start with me. Yes, I have had radiation exposure. It did not end with the bombs in World War II. Radioactivity, nor did it start with the bombs of World War II. Okay. Radioactivity levels were posted / shown, and basic radioactivity training was part of our training for when I utilized synchrotron facilities at the Advanced Light Source in Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, Department of Energy Lab in Berkeley, California, 2015 to 2018. I even did one 48-hour experiment all on my own. I was lead. Shielding from the radiation included concrete / cement blocks over a foot thick. Yes, they were, yes. Why am I bringing this up? Some people said I got the bubonic plague back in 2019 twice. However, some of my symptoms overlap with what was described in this book, as well as the bubonic plague, so there's overlap. Was it instead really radiation exposure from going to a Department of Defense, not the same lab multiple times across 2018 and 2019. I got 1 weak or strong radiation exposure immune system compared to the others I interacted with / went with, if that is true, unless I did something I was not supposed to do or touched something no one else did. I might have gotten sick after the visits and then again later. Maybe there was a leak. Others say the bubonic plague, I would put more weight into radiation exposure. Yes, so the power of radioactivity in some of these symptoms that manifested in humans, that was known before this, like decades before these bombs. That's where the bomb development came from. They were like, oh, we see this can happen to people. Let's accelerate it. They're very much a United States of America piece of technology. Still fitting of the culture back then and now, all about instant gratification. Accelerate, 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 get it done, 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 done. Yeah. The techies, the social media, gotta get it done. This is their bomb. This is their weapon that matches their personality. All right. Now, so it also covers the atomic bomb at, was it Nagasaki, and then some of the atomic and hydrogen bomb tests very briefly in the Pacific Islands. So, and as of the 2010s, the uranium nuclear bomb has not even been tested. Yes. So if you heard otherwise, it's purely fear-mongering, not based on reality. Yes. All right. Page 2, they talk about how each person who survived, it was like they took a step, or they decided to do something, or they missed that car, or they, you know, that kind of thing, and they survived. And Hollywood has decided to take it the fear-mongering of the survivor's path and frame it the other way. I've seen that a number of times in movies of the opposite. Because they stepped there, or went out at that time of day, or whatever, they died, you know, so they decided to fear-monger the survivors. That's page 2. Page 5 to 6, and kind of early on in the book, there was no sound. The bomb flashed, was dropped, flashed, but there wasn't sound. So technology can be designed to be outside the threshold of human hearing, or utilize certain physiological responses so that it couldn't be heard. Okay, that's basic science. Page 13. One of a bunch, like all the houses in the neighborhood gets knocked down from the force of the bomb dropping and exploding, except for one guy who was terrified of earthquakes. So reinforced, like braced the house, like, or double braced the house. And I was like, man, the United States of America is not ready. It's like 12 feet of concrete, solid concrete, that's required for the shielding from the radioactive, because there's the explosion, but then there's also it emits radioactive particles, and no normal wall blocks that. It requires solid concrete, so 12 feet thick. So yeah, bunkers are a good idea if you want to survive with atomic and hydrogen, not so much, but atomic and nuclear specifically. But yeah, USA is not ready. Japan might have been more so than USA even in modern day. Okay, page 19. Oh yeah, the house fell down and there was no sound. Yeah. All right, page 33. Well, I don't know if that's page 33. They put all of the people who've been grotesquely mutilated by whatever, falling debris and stuff in one area. And some people might read it and go, oh, and then they start talking to each other and it's all okay. It's not all okay. The author even comes back to point out they didn't actually talk to each other, these 3 people who were put together and mutilated. Okay. Page 45. So one of the things that radioactivity does to a human is the little radioactive particles decay, and when it does that, it goes against the flesh and kills the flesh. So then it's the person is living, but the flesh is dead, so the skin can be pulled off. So that's page 45. In modern times, acid mine drainage could take skin off as well. That's a product that's generated in mining elements and materials for modern day electronics. Yes. So if you really cared about surviving, you wouldn't buy those electronics, much less things with big batteries like electric vehicles. Okay. So saying you care or promote kindness and then buying even more modern electronics is called being a hypocrite. Let's keep going. Page 48. They return to the 3 grotesques, and no, they did not sleep, but they also did not talk. He makes the point of pointing that out. No, they did not talk. Page 59, electronic train transport in Japan exists back in 1945. Yes, they also have magnetic trains. They are technologically far, far advanced. Those was, almost 80 years ago, and the train existed before then. United States of America is way in the back. So I guess the symptoms fit the technology at the time. So as USA technology becomes more and more electronic heavy, I guess an atomic bomb being used on the American people becomes more and more of a fit as well. Okay, on page 60, wealthy people were mad. They're like, I donated all of my money and now the doctors won't serve me. And like over 1,000 of the doctors died and stuff, and they were taking care of the normal people who are actually like wounded. Like, yeah, people with money are assholes, aren't they? Especially in survival situations. Page 64, an electric car. He gets transported around by electric car. Mr. Nakamura. That's page 64. Page 90. They point out that total war, so supporting total war, includes war that against civilians, which is kind of like protesters today, right? It's out there attacking people's ideologies, so that's kind of total war in its own way. If you're anti-nuclear, you're anti-me, Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, you're anti-science. That's it. The doctor, let's see, page 92. Oh, page 91 and 92. Parasites actually, people who have radioactive exposure, parasites, roundworm, not ringworm, not tapeworm, roundworm, has more of an effect on people with radiation exposure. Page 101, Dr. Sasaki takes 10 years to complete his PhD. And there was a little bit of a disruption called the dropping of an atomic bomb. Well, more than one, right? There were two, technically. All right. Page 118. A German doctor living in Japan. He dies in 1977, but he says it feels like he's been going through hell. So if I have had radiation exposure, it does affect my cognitive functioning. So I decided I'd pick that out in the case that I actually did get radiation exposure. Okay, so like that one. And he's German and I'm part German, so it might be an ethnic thing. Page 135, bunch of people just blame the government. Yeah, essentially a bunch of people. That's still true in today's world. It's blame anybody above them, right? Just put the blame, whether it's get it right or not. Just blame them. Okay. Page 134, Bikini Atoll Islands, atomic bomb testing. That's in the Pacific Islands, right? Page 139. That's right. There was the race to develop the atomic bomb, and number 2 was Russia, Soviet Union. 1949, they developed an atomic bomb, and now they have my nuclear bombs. Again, nuclear uranium bombs have not even been tested as of the 2010s. If you've heard otherwise, it's misinformation / fear-mongering, and people are out to annihilate everybody. That tends to be the press spewing that misinformation, oddly enough, not those of us actually in the corresponding research area or with experience there. Page 143, unless they're like bribed or something like that, or have no idea what they're talking about. Page 143, Lucky Dragon. That's right, so if you hear dragon about military or in the aircraft, another test, and that's in the 1950s, in the Bikini Atoll, and it was an atomic bomb or related piece of aircraft or whatever. And then page 153, but it's not paginated, is the author died in 1993, but the book says it's a 1989 first edition. So I'm guessing this was a later printing, and if its printing corresponds to when it entered the library system, it was printed in 2017. So don't be deceived. Just because it says it's a, first 1989 edition doesn't mean that's when it was born. Could have been born as recent as 2017. All right. Anyway, in conclusion, marked full book number 60 for me for the 2024 year. Again, I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. Thought this was a good one for this Veterans Day, United States of America, Monday, 11 November 2024. Happy Veterans Day.